So welcome, Mike.
Hello, good to be here.
Good to see you too. It's a few weeks ago I had Ariana on, your daughter, and her childhood has been exceptionally supported and by you guys, and you've done an amazing job raising her and all the amazing things that she's doing. And she tells me that you are just as amazing.
Well, thanks to her. She always compliments her parents, which is an amazing thing in of itself. And that's kind of how me and my wife we raise her to always be respectful, but also to understand where things come from. This is something that you did, so you get the props, you get the kudos and the praise. And then, but this is something that we did because we wanted to. And so she's learned that, but it does come through a collaboration of, obviously, the child has to, to want to learn these things, but the parents have to learn to instill these things into their children. A lot of times we see big potential in children and kids and youth, and the parents, they don't culture or motivate them or cultivate them, and so it's like unused potential, but that potential is going to go somewhere else, and usually not in a constructive or positive way. So we're so thankful for Ari. Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing, absolutely amazing. But so are you, because I've heard amazing things about you, and plus I've been looking at all the great things you do. So let's talk about some of that today. Before we do, when we talked about Ariana's childhood being amazing, how was your childhood? What was that like?
Interesting. It was not, and this is something that a lot of parents do. My childhood was more tumultuous. I lived, in a single parent situation, and so it was really rough, to be honest with you. My dad wasn't there since like 3 years old, and so there was no role models outside of like friends and people that kind of roamed the street. So I grew up without the support and the encouragement and the teaching and all that kind of stuff. So, me and my wife, we made it a point that, we'll fill in those gaps that weren't there to make sure that Ari, has those things. But, we don't do what some others do, and that's like go the complete opposite way. And so, it's one of those things where you try to do the best you can to learn what you can from your experiences and try to implement the good and replace the bad, kind of thing. So yeah.
Well, I love that, but it's not everybody can do that. I've known a lot of people that have come from tumultuous childhoods, and they have gone down the path of, and there's no judgment here, but gone down the path of alcoholism and drug addiction and stuff, because to cover the pain. That's what I imagine, and so, and I think it takes a lot of resolve, to say, well, okay, well, this is an adverse situation that I was dealt, and now I'm going to change it. And I'm not going to take a stab at percentages, but I'm sure it's a lower percentage that actually come out the other side to say, well, I'm going to put a cog in the wheel here and change the whole system.
It's not easy. It's not easy. I went down that path. I was into drugs. I was into alcohol and all sorts of stuff. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt and threw the t-shirt away. I mean, so, so I totally understand every aspect possible of not having it and filling in those voids and gaps, even in a religious aspect, I tried going that direction in the beginning and fell into like abusive situations and stuff. And so it was just like, okay, nothing works. So I have to, give credit to the Lord for, for what he did that I could not do, so, without being preachy or anything like that, I just have to say that, there were people, the word, everything came together to help kind of pull me out of my own situation, that I was like headstrong, I'm going this way. And others that had compassion, and love, they were like, no, that's you're gonna ruin yourself. So yeah, it's very rare that someone can pull their self up by their own bootstraps, as they say.
Yeah.
It's virtually impossible. So
Yeah.
I give credit to where credit's due on that one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it's also the quite interesting, because then you can go to the whole argument or whole debate or the whole conversation about, do we each have a blueprint? And the fact is that we're going to end up doing the thing that we were designed to do, regardless of what circumstances are thrown. This is such a big conversation. We won't go right down that rabbit hole, but there's so much to ponder about why we end up doing what we do and how we get there. So now, Ariana told me you were working as a graphic artist, and this is quite interesting, because we can sort of go back to talking about adversity here. That when you were working as a graphic artist, you then got fired, and then which could be, I know a lot of people have been fired, and it's a potential moment that turns you upside down and turns you bitter and turns you against the world and all that kind of stuff. But you sort of took that moment of another adversity and said, well, I'm going to start up my own company. And that, so what tell us about that moment.
So actually I wasn't fired. I was
She lied.
Well, maybe she didn't realize there's a difference. But the entire department was laid off.
Oh.
The actual company was purchased. It was bought out or taken over. It was a corporate takeover is what it was.
Yeah.
And so the entire department was shut down. In fact, most departments were it was a ghost town, except for like the editorial, which lasted a little bit. And so we all were gone. And I had like 6 days severance package, like for 6 days. So we're like, so what do we do with all of this money from the severance package? I guess we'll go to dinner, but still, it's still the same situation to where, you have this income, and whether you're fired or you're laid off, still the same thing. We all three of us, my wife, Ari, myself, we agreed together as a family that we would just go ahead and, take a step off the boat and do our own Splash Design Works, business, just take the time and go by faith and just kind of do it, So we took advantage of that and did that. So
and often people won't do it because it's too scary. I just want to go back to some security and that sort of stuff and be paid by someone else. Yeah. But most people I know, that take that leap of faith, do really well. They do well. And having said that, as in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that that 3 in 5 small businesses fail, and all that kind of stuff. But most people I know actually make it. So maybe I just know some go-getters. I don't know. So tell us about Splash Design Works. Like what that's what the company you started, and what sort of things do you do with that?
Yeah, so Splash Design Works, I've been designing for over 25 years-ish altogether. So it's kind of what I do in my brain anyways, just the creative part. And so, Splash Design Works, there's kind of a big need, at least in this area. Like we're in Delaware, and Delaware is like, they often say lower, slower Delaware. And I'm from Los Angeles, California originally, and which is the opposite. And so we saw a need that there needs to be some high quality, good big city type of quality work, but here in a lower, slower atmosphere, to where let's get this done, kind of thing. And so we again, we took advantage of that, and so we pretty much offered all the creative services that usually can come with a creative firm. So everything from logos to websites to marketing, brochures, branding, strategies. And the last 2 to 3 to 4 years or so, we've gotten deep, very, very deep into video production, like creating commercials, video testimonials, video production of all sorts, which is when we got into the Crystal Fox films and filming and stuff like that. So, and the splash, was because we wanted to make a splash, whether it be creativity or, or add some color to your logo, or, some quality, or just fun, something, whatever, just splash it, make a splash. So that's kind of how we got that. So, yeah.
I love it. Well, you just mentioned Crystal Fox Films. So you've started filmmaking, or not started, but you're into filmmaking and all that sort of stuff. I mean, you've been doing it for a while, and you've got a few films out that, there was Box in a Basement. There's quite a few things that Aria was telling me about. But one of the ones that was quite interesting she was talking about was Mia's Bridge. And that really struck an emotional chord with me, really like connection chord with me. So tell us more about that one, because that sounds great. They all sound great.
This is it's the biggest project that we're into, and it's in development, and people can go on and see miasbridgethemovie.com. It's on IMDb, it's on Slated. So it's in development right now, and the biggest part of having a regular budgeted feature film is going towards SAG-AFTRA union is the investorship and partners and investors. This is the biggest for if your last name is not Spielberg or Bay or J.J. Abrams, or somebody big, then you're really having to hustle a lot and find the connections and find the people. Mia's Bridge is a very, very emotionally powerful film that's a unity film. We actually, about 2 weeks ago, we just shot from 7 a.m. to 4 a.m. the next morning in Philadelphia for a teaser that I'm still doing post-production for. So I'm putting together a teaser promo. So I got SWAT, I got people that came in, drove from Texas down to Philly, North Carolina to do the DPing on it and stuff. So I mean, it's going to be an amazing few minutes of teaser, action and just all kinds of stuff. We flew down the main girl, who's like an 11-year-old, adorable rock star, and her mom from Florida to be on set. And so it was an amazing experience. But Mia's Bridge is, with all the chaos and all the anger and all the division and all the things that are out there that are forcing people to point, to blame, to find what's wrong, and to stoke the fires of division out there. And it's out there because, and I'll say it flat out, a lot of high profile people in the industry are getting tons of money to perpetuate it and to keep stoking those flames.
Yep.
And this movie is the opposite. It's how can we get together and find a solution, find a common ground, to help each other succeed. And so Mia becomes like a conduit or a catalyst for polarized, entities, from law enforcement, families, professionals, gangs, people of all walks of life, all cultures, to find at least a common ground. And Mia becomes that common ground. And it's a tear-jerking, emotionally powerful film, but it's got drama, crime, action, and inspiration. So that's what this is. It's an inspirational drama that's showing a balanced approach, other than what the narratives that are being pushed in Hollywood. And I already know, on the inside scoop, they're being perpetuated and pushed, and they're not accurate. They're not being accurate. They're just doing it for money, really. So this is one of those things that its endeavor is for the audience to leave wanting to be a better person somehow. I got to find a way to be a better person. One of the scenes, the later scenes, without giving it away or whatever, Mia's friend is unwrapping, a crumpled paper that Mia wrote, saying, like, I pledge to give somebody I don't know a high five, start the love, stop the hate, kind of that kind of thing. And how can we just get along? Everybody has different thoughts, different perspectives, and wrong, right, whatever, black, white, culture, race, whatever. It's time to get back into like helping each other. Otherwise, a house divided against itself will not stand. And that's what's happening right now. So, yeah. But I've had a lot of people, so many professionals, actors, actresses, producers. One of the actors on board this has been in the Born Ultimatum movies. Yeah. And I have a snapshot because I took it. I'm like, whoa. He said, I've been in the Born Ultimatum movies and I'm more excited about Mia's Bridge than those. It's because it has the power to impact. People are tired of like being, fueled all the hate kind of stuff, hate for this, hate for this, hate for them, all the divisiveness. People are hungry. The audience is hungry for good old-fashioned humor, feel good, help me to feel better, give me some kind of hope here, some light at the end of the tunnel. And that's kind of what this film is. So we're desperately seeking good, reliable investors. And really, there's so many out there. It's really sad, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of investors perpetuating the same crap that's out there. Yeah. And you can see the numbers. The numbers do not lie. And the numbers, I mean, you got like Netflix, last 2022, 50% of their shares dropped. 50%. That's major. You got Disney. The only thing that's keeping Disney alive right now is Star Wars. And we're fine with that. But if it wasn't for all the Star Wars stuff, all the stuff that Disney's doing and pushing and Pixar, all the stuff that they're doing, all their numbers are down so much because people are needing to be inspired and, and feel good about not just themselves, but their neighbor, somebody else. Can't we like help each other, as a people, community, nation, whatever? Can't we just kind of, give me something to work off of here so I can feel good and help my neighbor. If it used to be that, knock on the door if you need a cup of sugar. Now it's just like, knock on the door, get your gun. What do you want? It's like, let's find a way to find some common ground and help each other succeed. Kind of thing.
I know. I agree. I think it's. I really hope that COVID might have helped that. Might have helped everybody to get a really take stock of what's going on in the world and just say, well, enough's enough. And we've been destroying the planet. We've been, especially when everything shut down and all the nature started to grow again. It's kind of like, everybody watch this, look at this. Like, let's stop. But it seems that everybody's kind of not. Perhaps a lot of people have gone back into what they were doing, but I agree with you that a lot more people now are looking for, how can I do better? What can I do better? But something I've also noticed in my line of work too is a lot of people don't know how. They just don't know what that thing is that they can do because they think they need to do something bigger than just the smile, just the hello, just the right. How are you going today? They see that as significant. Exactly. That's huge.
We Ari's a part of, and I'm doing a video, actually the video production and filming for a curriculum, and it's called Boost Kids. Yeah. And the owner is over in the Philly area, Pennsylvania, which is not too far from us. And so I just had a lot of kids on set, and for inserts and stuff. And the curriculum, it's just really interesting because that's how Ari is, our daughter. She's got that work hard, play hard, reward hard mentality. And she remembers the names of people, when she meets them. She surprises half the cashiers at Walmart because she says their name. Thank you, Marietta. And they're like, oh, you're welcome. Because nobody says their name. Nobody cares. So she does these little things shakes hands, just little things to show respect and that they care. And it changes the entire day for somebody who doesn't feel like anybody cares about them, kind of thing. And so all these like little things of like what used to be old-fashioned values of respect for your neighbor and stuff like that, it's kind of like that is those little things, a lot of those little things help to connect each other as humans.
Yeah.
Instead of digitally, here, let me text you. And so that's what that curriculum is. And this movie has the potential, for all investors and all potential investors, potential sponsors, potential, donors. This movie has the potential to create a movement or momentum, going back to helping the other person. And Mia is that, she's like the most adorable little puffball girl ever, but she's an amazing actress, 11 years old. But it just has the power to start something, because you mentioned a lot of people don't know how.
Yeah.
But it starts with one step, one small step for mankind, one giant leap from whatever. But if you can start that momentum, it helps you to continue the momentum.
Yeah.
A lot of times, until you start something, even small, you don't know what to do, because like you said, very well said, they want to do something bigger and better. But what? How about starting with the first step and the next step? And by the time you get to the third step, you'll have a better vision of what you can do to make a difference in somebody else's life.
Yeah. Well, I love it. And I love that you're doing films to inspire. What made you get into filmmaking? Like when you were doing your original job as graphic design, I'm sure you weren't making films. So what was it, a big leap, or was it because not everyone sits at their desk and goes, I'm going to make feature films.
Yeah, it's a big leap. I'll tell you that. It's more like a quantum leap. So all my life, I've always been loving like movies and behind the scenes. How did they do that kind of thing? I've always been that way. And right before COVID hit, but when COVID hit, it forced a lot of people to do different things. And that was kind of like a clincher to get into that area more than before. And so what I started to do was I actually started to create film shorts for Ari, because she's an actress. And so I actually created like film short, and then it got from a film short to a film medium. And then I was like, okay, and then submitted it to the film festival circuit. And I ended up getting like multiple awards for this. You'll always get criticism. I mean, that comes with the territory. But you always get people that are looking for, how can it be a some kind of impact, and what is good with it. And hey, the fact that you did this with this and this, that's amazing. And then Ari was able to star in it, because I was getting show reel for her. And so I started getting awards for this, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then I started adding more and more equipment. And then I got on board it's actually a faith-based comedy sitcom, which there's nothing out there like this, to be honest with you. It's called Wanna Be a Star. And so I got on as Robbie the Cowboy, as an actor. I am not a cowboy. But I am not a cowboy. But so I got on, but then the creator of this series, he really quickly realized that I'm a director, a producer, a creative producer as well. And so I hopped on basically as director, executive producer, and then co-writer, because I write, and a ton of other stuff. And so we started creating this, and we actually shot, and I'm still doing post-production, and we're actually next Saturday, no, not next Saturday, on the 28th, we're shooting some end scenes of it. We're going to make it from a sitcom into a full feature, just because it's extremely difficult to get a pilot onto a like Netflix or Hulu or some kind of network, unless you know somebody. And we just haven't had that opportunity to connect with somebody. So we're gonna just try to go ahead and make it into a full feature film, because you can do more with a feature film than you can an episodic or a pilot. So I started doing that, and then creating video production from that, creating more and more commercials. And then I'm like, you know what? I still need to get some more showreel for Ari. And I wanted to get some kind of cool sci-fi drama series. And so I had in my mind a box, like a glowing box, and about 2 minutes of like cool, maybe put the fan on her and put it in slow motion so it's going. And so, and then have it glowing. And then I'll be honest with you, all these storylines and characters started coming about. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And pretty soon I'm like, you know what? I can get maybe a few other people to be like parents and friends. And it grew like exponentially from there. And then I would say about a week or two after that, I opened up a casting call for like a couple of people to be on this film short. Now it's a film short at this point. I had, I think within the first day, I had like a few hundred people submissions.
Wow.
Within the first day. And I'm like, okay, this is getting serious. And so the people that I saw that are submitting, I'm like, you know what? They would be a perfect this role. And that, oh man, they would be perfect. And then the storyline kept growing and growing and growing. What started out to be like a 2-minute extra show reel kept growing and growing and growing until it became like a film medium to like a longer type of situation. And I'm like, wow, this is going to be like one of those big film shorts I could submit. And then a filmmaker friend of mine said, Mike, you just need to make it into a feature film. And me and my wife we were just laughing like, feature film, we can't afford to do a feature film, And so we were on our date, because we have date nights. Me and Ari have daddy-daughter date. Me and my wife, we have our daddy-mommy date. And so we were just walking in the park talking, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just add up how much footage we actually have that we shot for this, the box in the basement. And we added it up, and it was only like a fraction short of what was needed to be considered like a minimum feature film. And we're like, okay, let's go ahead and make it a full feature film. And some of the stuff that we added on is actually our favorite shots, like the Mexican restaurant. And I mean, it was, the park scene with the drone and stuff. It was like, it's really good stuff. So that's when we made it a full feature film. And it was very hard for an independent filmmaker. It's like distribution and investing are like the hardest things for an independent filmmaker. It's just, oh my goodness. So I finally was able to get it, through a distributor who put it on Prime, Tubi, IMDb TV, which is now called Freevee, and those outlets and stuff. So we finally got it. We did a premiere at a movie theater. It was sold out. We had people coming from West Virginia, North Carolina, DC, New York, all over the place. It was an amazing event. We changed lives of young people, who's never had an experience. It was amazing. So yeah, that was that.
What a journey. It is when you say I'm going to do a feature film, it's kind of what we were saying before. It's like that great big leap, and when we think about great big leaps, we just don't do it. But exactly like you've just described, just that one step at a time, just this step led to this step led to this step. And that doesn't mean that you don't put any effort in, or you don't put any direction in. Of course, you've got to have a vision, and you've got to move in the right direction of your vision. But, often we don't know the next step, and we've just got to have faith, that we just, well, here it is. This looks like the next step. I'm going to take it, and eventually you get there. And I just love that you've done that. I love it.
It's amazing. On day two, on day two of filming, I think that was when it really like emotionally hit me because we
Yeah,
had like about 75 or 80 people on set.
yeah.
And I felt like Steven Spielberg right there. I was just like, I was looking all around and I got crew, I got cast, I got their parents, I got people, all over the place, inside, outside, and just all over on set and stuff. And the crew is just like this is so cool, and it's just like the feeling was just like this is amazing. And of course we've done a lot of stuff on commercials, we've been on set. My wife and I were actually leads on an A&E episodic last year, and it's for Panic 911, and it's called There's a Gun to Her Back, and my wife was like the bad guy and I was the lead cop that shot her twice,
Yeah.
but uh just being on set, the hashtag set life,
Yeah.
man, it's just I don't know, it's just so cool. Everybody's it's a family unit when you get there. It's just awesome,
Yeah.
and we love it. It's just really good, really good. We love
Oh,
it.
I love it. Well, this whole podcast is get off the bench. It's to inspire people to actually start, doing stuff.
Get off the bench.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you're doing that so well. You're also a high achiever. Like you've got to be a high achiever because
Trying.
you also mentioned before about you won a lot of awards for your films, but you've also won a lot of awards for public speaking and multiple other things. So what drives you? Like what drives you to be a high achiever?
Honestly, I don't know. It's just I would say it's a combination, really. I've been through a lot of rough times when I was young, and just the drive to that determination,
Mm.
to like, okay, I feel challenged. All right, come on,
Yeah.
and so life has thrown a lot of challenges. I can't tell you that, I haven't felt the punches. Definitely I felt the punches over and over and over again. But my biggest drive, at least at this point, is my family.
Yeah.
So to us, to me, family is everything,
Yeah.
and it goes into, Ari believes in herself because we as families believed in her and instilled that in her.
Yeah.
You can do it, you will do it, we'll make sure you do it.
Yeah.
And it's not, we don't just leave it to chance. You can't.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing you can do, is leave it to chance, because life has a way of throwing a curve.
Yeah.
One thing that we have learned, and we've taught Ari, and she's now teaching others, is that a lot of times you have to put yourself in a position to be successful, or place yourself there. You have to put yourself in the way of success. You don't just happen to be there. Some people say, well, I was lucky. Okay, I could see sometimes rare occasions for rare people, it may be that luck of the draw kind of thing. But in most cases, if you dig a little deeper,
Yeah.
you'll see that luck is really another name for, well, what I did was I learned how to do this, and then I went out and I did this, and then I did this and this, and I just happened to meet this person who was looking for this. But in hindsight, they're like, I don't know, I was just lucky, I guess. They're just luck. And it's like, no, it wasn't luck. You did some stuff. You got off the bench. You got your bat in your hand, and you were ready to play ball because you practiced and you've done this 100 times.
Yeah.
So, I get it. You can call it this. A lot of people in the spiritual realms, say, well, I'm just blessed. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. And yes, amen, amen, amen. But what did you do, to get blessed? There's always some kind of thing that somebody does that causes a reaction, that causes, opportunity, or, good or bad. We cause our own path. And so yeah, that is, we want to instill these things that, as a teacher, as a former teacher, and even as official former substitute teacher, I personally know they do not teach these things in school.
I know.
And so I mean, I don't know what else to say, but parents are the best teachers, and it's sometimes very hard for parents because they don't have the time. They're trying to make ends meet. They're working. Both people are working, things like that. But that's why we wanted to instill the entrepreneurial spirit in her, and she grew up to be. I mean, at age 6.5, she spelled anti-disestablishmentarianism. At age 8, she won for a state business chamber. She won a nomination at little old age 8.5, I think. A nomination. She was nominated to be the most personable chamber member. And so and we instilled that sometimes you can only do that through homeschooling, or at least through parenting at home and not leaving somebody else to raise your child, or depend on them to do it for you. So we instilled the passion and cultivated it into letting her use that drive and passion for her own passions, kind of thing, because she has her own passions. What American 16-year-old girl knows Scottish Gaelic songs?
Yeah, I know. So you're talking about all the schooling and everything, and I'm if anyone listens to all my podcasts generally regularly, they'll hear me say things about school that I'm not a big fan of school, and I was good at school, but I didn't like it. I don't think it teaches. I feel sorry for a lot of the teachers. The teachers try to do a great job, but the system is so damn outdated and old, and we're not teaching kids how to be and how to survive and how to get on with people and how to connect and all these kind of things. So you decided to homeschool, Ariana. So how did that decision come about? Because like you're saying, parents work and parents are busy, and how did you go, that's it, we're just homeschooling it? Did she ever go to school in the first place, or no?
We decided that because we know what's going on with the school system, the educational system, from experience. And again, myself as experience in being in the system, I know what they're pushing. I know what they're not teaching. I mean, school used to be where you learn about life and how to survive, like you said, how to be good, how to be successful in life. You learn your reading, writing, and arithmetic, at the very minimum. And then you learn the what's that, the cooking stuff, or the
home economics.
Home economics, but all these other things, like if you were kicked out like a bird out their nest, you can survive. Now, see, and I'm going to say this for what it's worth, and I have no qualms on saying this, but the system is designed to make you dependent upon the system.
Yep.
And so, Frederick Douglass used to talk about this, that if you learn to read and write, you're no longer fit to be a slave. And when they take away information and they subtract it with dependency, then you no longer learn how to be independent as a student. You now are dependent upon all these experts and authorities to tell you what you need to do, how you need to feel, what you need to be, and all this kind of stuff. And it's all a big strategy. Unfortunately, I can't say it any other way. It's all a part of, some higher elite strategies to dumb down, our students. And so, there's no way, as me and my wife understanding what the educational system is doing, and is even worse doing now. Oh, it's just crazy. I won't even go there. But there's no way we would have kicked our daughter into this den of lions like that, if at all possible. And so we had to go through a lot of hard times, a lot of struggles, but we found that that was more important. Our daughter was more important. Our family was more important than just getting two nice cars in the driveway and a nice home kind of thing. So, unfortunately, a lot of people make their own choices that they feel they need to make, and saying, well, we want a nice car, nice home, nice driveway, nice this, and then they use their kids for our kids. I'm like, no, for you, and so, we chose to go that route. And I can't, years ago, we lost track of how many times complete strangers that we don't even know would come up to us as parents and flip out on how well Ari is well behaved, how smart, how genius, how personal, how caring, attentive, aware, blah, blah, blah. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on, including professionals and business colleagues and, adults, mostly adults. And then the kids, of course, she can goo goo gaga with a baby if she needed to. And then the next turn, and then the next turn, talk about, yes, the higher education of the quantum realm is this, when you talk about the nucleus of the protons, because the protons come from the Greek and the Latin come together, and just like, I'm like, okay, so she's, she can do that, but it takes an effort on the whole family part, the child, the parents, and for the parents to make it a priority kind of thing, So she believes in herself. The parents first have to believe in the child before they can believe in themselves, kind of thing. So, we're all about impacting lives. Her logo is, inspiring others, so that's kind of how we work it,
Yeah, I love it. And I think a lot of, I wrote the book Magnificent Kids in 2014, and it was about 23 kids changing the world. And then I saw Ariana in the book Game Changers, and that's why I reached out to her, because Game Changers from Christy Maggio, who's beyond is, was on, is in the same mindset as me. Like, let's empower these kids, let's show kids that they can do it. And there's such a, I think, actually, Ariana said when I interviewed her that she wanted to write a book when she was 4, and you said, yeah, let's do it, and just do it now. Don't wait. And I think what a lot of parents miss is that you can do it when you're an adult, sure, just go to school now, just be quiet, just do what you have to do. And I think as parents, we're missing the boat a lot with when a kid says they want to do something, we're kind of like, yeah, you're just a kid, just one day. But I think we've got to be much better, and you're talking about it so much, just opening up, and giving them the opportunity at least to taste it, to try it, and then they might say, I don't like that. Great, but at least you had a crack.
It's amazing, because even in this area, because we're in Delaware area and stuff like that, but we years and years ago, she reached out, and we went to this expo, which was a kids expo, and we met people from all over the states and stuff. And it turns out that there are like a ton of kids that are doing like amazing things. And because she's a keynote speaker as well, so when she was speaking, she would talk about all kinds of other kids, like that are like everywhere from 7-year-old to teen, that are doing stuff. They got products in the malls, and and even authors, like Aragon, the movie, that one with the dragon, I think it's Aragon, something like that. That was by a 14-year-old author, who got a movie deal. I mean, so there's so many kids and teens and young people that are doing stuff, and nobody's making it a big deal. But we've connected with enough other kids and parents, seeing that there are out there everywhere. Kids making an impact and getting off the bench and making a difference in lives. It's just, it's just a lot of, they're not hyped up enough, I don't think, so, but there's plenty of kids that are impacting lives and and getting out there. And kudos and praise to the parents that are helping their kids do that and stuff, and pushing their kids in the constructive direction per se, kind of thing, and not just saying like you said, because it's happened so often. Yeah, you're just a kid, you don't know what you want to do in life. Hey, you know what? How do you know unless you try? So yeah, I mean, Ari has like a violin, a recorder, a bowdon, and what else do you have? She has a guitar. Does she know how to play all of those? No, but her passion is music too, and so she has it there ready, for when she gets into it. But that's because that's her passion, and she's learned to invest in her passion with her own money and her own time, which is a big deal too. Learning how to invest, learning how to manage your time, manage your money, all that kind of stuff. Ooh, it's a big deal. Yeah,
I agree. 100%. We're just going through our teenager has to do tax. And we said, so you've got to book in, get your tax done, and you've got to pay for it. And she says, pay for it? And we're like, well, you're going to pay for it. You'll get some back, but you've got to pay for it. Oh, why do I have to pay for it? Well, you're working, you've got, and then, you've got these little pangs of guilt, but it's kind of like, you're never going to learn. You're never going to learn how to be an adult, how to manage the world, how to deal with people, how to negotiate stuff, unless you're doing it yourself. My very first lesson came when I was 7. I wanted to get a guitar, and Mum got me one. And when I was a teenager, I said, well, I want an electric guitar, because I was sick of my fingers bloody hurting all the time. And she said, well, you have to pay for it yourself. And I said, I don't have any money. She goes, get in the car. And she took me down to Woolworths, which is like a supermarket.
Store, yeah,
a supermarket, and dropped me at the front door. He said, go in and ask for a job. and I was to work. I was earning $7 a day, and I went down to the music shop and put it on lay-by. I think you call pay away or something. And I had to. That took me months to buy that first guitar. And I tell you, I'm 59 now, and I've still got that guitar in my cupboard, because there's no way I'm ever selling that lesson. But anyway, it was absolutely fantastic.
That's great.
So your ultimate goal, and we've talked about this the whole way through the interview, your ultimate goal is to impact lives and to inspire people, encourage others to make a better world. Why is that so important to you? Why does that get you up every day?
It's usually those that have gone through things themselves, that realize how important it is for others to get a little bit of hope, a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of encouragement in some way, that they too can be successful or get where they want to go. For us, it's kind of like just part of who we are. We don't want to do anything that's just for no reason. It's like passion to purpose. The filmmaking that we're doing, even me as Bridge, there's a passion and then there's a purpose. It's going to be inspirational to help empower in some way. When I speak, I try to, I'm very practical. There are some people that they just, everything is like, marshmallows and chocolate syrup and everything. And, bless them, they do their job well. I'm more of a practical. I'm a coach. I mean, me and my wife are actually marriage and relationship coaches. And so we look at the practical, what plays that do you have to do to get, to score a touchdown, and so that's kind of how we work things. But we're always wanting to somehow inspire somebody else, that they can do it, and again, it's just kind of like who we are, we've been through it, we understand, we relate, we feel the pain, and if if we're able to get to this place and achieve something, you know what, if we can do it, you can do it too. And we're of the mindset that we want to do what we can to try to help somebody and we've done a lot of training. We've done a lot of workshops, especially for like business owners, professionals. And so we love to give, educational training and empowerment, how they too can get to where they need to go. They can always hire us if they need to, but we want to empower them, power to the people, so that you too can do it if you feel that you can do it. And so that's kind of who we are. We don't, we don't just drift and do nothing for nothing kind of thing.
Well, it's very selfless as well. I think most people do live with a lid on their jar, and it's kind of like, oh, well, I can't do that. And I think there needs to be more people like you out there inspiring people to say, you actually can do a lot more than you think you can. But I also like the part about, you wanting to make a better world. And I've got this, maybe it's naive, but I'm going to stick with it anyway, is the more of us that are out there doing this, trying to make a better world, the quicker or closer we can get to that tipping point, where the world is in fact better. A lot of people tell me I'm a dreamer. A lot of people tell me it's black and white. It's a balance, it's good, bad. You're always going to get duality. And I agree with all that. But sometimes I see that, it depends which side of the bed I get out. Sometimes I think, oh, God, the world's going bad. What's going on with this bloody crazy world? And there's other days I get out and I'm like, wow, God, there's so many good people. So I'd like to have more days of getting out, which I do, but I'd like more getting out going, God, there's so many good people in this world. And one day we're going to hit a tipping point, and we're going to lead more. And I know we can never eliminate bad, but I think that everybody can do just one more little thing, and it will. I think what I'm trying to say is I don't think people realize the impact that one little thing from them will have as a sum of. If everybody just did that one little thing, this great big energy bomb would drop as a good energy, and we would be like, yeah, this is what we're living for.
They say a mountain is made up of a lot of little stones.
Yep.
And in Mia's bridge, when Mia's friend stands up and opens and reads, basically a lot of the other students, they end up like raising their hands and standing up. There's a few students, because I got to show realities, there's a few students that don't, but most of them are like impacted by Mia and her dream that we can all just get along. And so the next scene, you see like a lot of situations on the playground, both with kids and teachers, and you see like groups of kids that stood up and made the pledge, to do good, and they start to infiltrate the situations and help it to do good. And one of them, there's a couple kids helping a teacher with some sports equipment, and that just doesn't happen anymore. And so all of a sudden, these two kids are helping the teacher, and then they give the teacher a high five, because that was one of the things on the flyer. I dare you to find someone that you don't know and give them a high five. And so, the teacher's just kind of like, what was that? But they made a difference. They made a little difference in their life. And if you can just make one little difference in somebody's life, you never know, you can start a chain reaction of a lot of other good things to take place. Just like you said, when you wake up on the good side or the wrong side of the bed, a lot of times your mindset, I'm just as guilty, but your mindset can also often trigger like the rest of the day to go accordingly. And so if you can help somebody in one little way, maybe you could trigger a chain of events in the rest of their day to be a good, positive day, and bring hope again to somebody, so.
And your own. I think when you give a positive something to somebody, it also triggers your own good set
Yeah.
of events for the day. And it's
Yes.
kindness
Right.
doesn't just help the person that you're helping. It actually helps yourself in significant ways. There's so much research, and I'm not going into it, but it's scientific data to say that when we're kind to people, it actually changes us, and does a lot for
Yeah.
us. So I absolutely love it. Now, you do you reckon you found your purpose in life? I know you said before, passion to purpose. You reckon you found your purpose? You're sitting there in it?
That's a good question. I would say yes and no.
Mm,
Yes, I have many purposes.
yeah,
So, and it's always that what is your ultimate one purpose in life? I've in all honesty, I've been learning, at least for me, I can't speak for other people, but at least for me, I've been learning that there are a multiplicity of purposes.
yeah, yeah,
And so I would say for this, and for this, and for this, definitely I have found my purpose in these things. For that one, and that one, and that one, I'm still figuring it out.
yeah,
And so what I theorize is that as long as I keep walking in the purposes that I know I'm supposed to walk in,
yeah,
along the path, those will fill in its own season and its own time.
yeah, yeah,
So a lot of times I've known that, well, I don't know my purpose, so I'll try to plug it with this or plug it with that or fill it with that. And then what ends up happening is sometimes we frustrate ourselves
yeah,
because that's really not what it's supposed to be, but you want to fill it in because you don't like the feeling of it being empty. And
mm.
so what I'm still learning at my age, which is, and it's like,
Still
you
younger
know,
than me.
Ooh, Lord. So like what I've learned is um I just need to keep walking in what I know I'm supposed to be walking in.
Yeah, yeah,
And eventually it's like when you drive on a freeway and you see the signs and you're not using your Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever,
yeah,
or even if you are, and you're like, I know that sign because I've been here before, but I don't remember the others. As long as you stay on that road because you know that road you just passed,
mm,
you know that one. As long as you stay on that road, you'll see the next sign coming up in a mile or two. And then you can make a determination if that's the direction you want to stay or if you need to get off.
yeah,
But until you get there, by staying on that road, you may not know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's kind of my theory on that.
No, I like that. And I like the signpost too. I always like to think when you get a signpost or you get a Y in the road or whatever you get, I always ask the question, is it on the way or in the way? And if I can really absolutely determine it's in the way, it's out. But if I think, even if I don't like doing it and I don't want to do it, but I can see that it's on the way to where I'm going, I think, yeah, you know what, I'll wear it. I'll persist with this, just for a little bit. Mind you, I don't persist with much for too long if it's not making me happy. But anyway, I love it. Well, a lot of people dream of becoming successful now, and success, I'm not going to determine that because some people think it's money, some people think it's a big house, some people think it's living a life that you just wake up happy every single day, whatever their road to success is. A lot of people are, how can I say it? The arts industry, which is your films and a lot of stuff that you're doing, a lot of people are told that get a real job. There's the arts industry is for suckers. Don't go to university and do arts and all that kind of stuff. So it's very easy to listen to the expectations of others and how society is telling you, pick a real job, that kind of thing. So many budding artists out there who may be thinking, I'll
Yes.
never make a feature film, I'll never make money on, what would you tell them?
Oh, that's a whole hour right there.
Squash it up.
So So I understand 100% why people say it's not a real job per se. Let me put it this way. Let me start with the practical, and that is, it is a very frustrating, hard industry. It's so up and down and so flaky and fluctuating. It's just really, it could be very empty and hard for a lot of people, especially people that they they feel that they have talent and they go in all in, hoping that they'll get this big break kind of thing. So the big breaks, they do happen, you know, but for the rest of us normal people, like, what I would say is learn how to be consistent, persistent, and foundational on what would keep you staying in the right direction and paying your bills. So again, I agree 100% with everything that you said in the question itself. There are so much talent out there. I wish I can get a $500 million budgeted film and hire like everybody I know and I've talked to, because there's so much good talent out there.
Yeah.
So learn what to do, take the steps to do what you can do, and learn to take the things that may not pay, but pay in credit and pay in experience and pay in, say, um, awareness of who you are. Get your name out there. A lot of non-union actors, basically. There's very little union SAG-AFTRA actors out there that will ever like work for only credits kind of thing and a meal. But there's been a innumerable amount of non-union, because it's really hard, you know, to be an actor, or even some crew, you know, cast and crew and DP and, you know, set, you know, crew production. You want to build up your resume. You want to build up your IMDb, which is your online resume for sure. Connect and collaborate with other like-minded individuals that will help you and inspire you to keep going. There's a lot of people that will say, just like you mentioned, you know, it's not a real job, you know, don't worry about it, don't even try. No, with anything, whether it be acting, entertainment, or if you're an artist and you want to, you know, if you want to end up drawing. I remember, I forgot if it was it wasn't Garfield. It was the Far Side, the guy who did Far Side. You know, if you ever see the Far Side cartoon,
Yeah.
I mean, they're far out kind of
Yeah.
thing, you know, but they're amazing. And I think it was him, I could be wrong, but on the back of one of his books, because he's got tons of books, he has an actual copy of one of his teachers that wrote a note to him saying like something to the effect of like, stop doodling and drawing, you'll never make a living out of this. And it's kind of like, oh really, you know? So don't give up.
Yeah.
Just be wise and strategic about it. Unless you have somebody that's going to promise you a signed contract that'll get you income and revenue and money, don't throw all your eggs in one basket. Make sure that you have your income and you're living your expenses, and then add to it as you can the experience of being on set, connecting, you know, with others, and then getting your foot in the door, so to speak. You know, try to start very small and easy, and you will make great connections. That's one huge perk about the entertainment industry, is that the networking is crazy. It's amazing. You get to meet so many amazing people that, you know, that you connect with. On the flip side, let me say this: be very careful. Always keep your antennas up. We've been thrown under the bus ourselves as a family, so literally stabbed in the back with mutiny from producers and people. And it's just like, oh, I didn't think that was real, but it is. And it's just like, there are a lot of people, music industry, entertainment industry, that will promise you everything and then stab you in the back and then throw you off the bus while it's moving. So always keep your always keep your antennas up, and guarded, and be very meticulous and discreet on what steps you take, but connect and collaborate with people that are wanting to succeed and help each other, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think connection's the biggest thing we can do with anything. I think, and good connections, genuine connections, not just sucking up to somebody because it'll help me, but just really building great relationships with people. I think that's fantastic. Mike, I absolutely love this conversation, and there's been so many little nuggets. I wish I had the time, to pull out all the nuggets out of my podcast. But anyway, well, maybe one day when I've got nothing to do, but I can't see that ever happening. But I've loved this, really, really loved it. And where can people find you?
Thank you. So for our business /design works, they can go to www.splashdwd for design, W for works.com. For our filmmaking, hire us for documentaries, feature films, action, any kind of filmmaking, commercials. You can go to crystalfoxfilms.com. Crystal Fox was one of our favorite creatures from Star Wars. It was, in the Crystal Fox. It was just like, oh, that is so cool. But of course, Fox is our last name. So it's, see right here, Crystal Fox. This one right here. So crystalfoxfilms.com. And then the movies, one of the movies, The Box in the Basement, is theboxinthebasement.com. And then Mia's Bridge, you can go to miasbridgethemovie.com. And then our email is info@splashdw.com or director@crystalfoxfilms.com. And then both on almost all social media. And of course, our daughter's out there. You can do a search on Ariana Fox and find page after page after page after page of results.
Well, I had Ariana on a few weeks ago, so anyone can just go back and check out her podcast, and all of her links are in her show notes. I'm going to put all of your links in your show notes as well. So, and there's quite a lot of them, so I'll put the whole list of them in, and it's it's fantastic. So I hope people go and follow you, and hopefully you get some work and some investors in your films as well, because I'd love to see all that good stuff really hit the big screen and really get moving, change the world. So thank you so very much for joining me. I've absolutely loved it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I loved your questions. They were amazing. So yes, thank you.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. I try.
Yes, I'm trying to get off the bench myself on so many things. So
yeah, me too. Guilty. I'm like
the bench is so comfortable sometimes.
Yeah, I'm like the builder that still hasn't finished the house. I'm just helping building everyone else's houses, but keep forgetting to build mine. But anyway, all right. Well, thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You too. All right. See ya. Thank you. Ta-da.
Bye.